NHL Conference Finals start today in the NHL. We're going to talk about it. We're going to break things down. The Florida Panthers moved on just a few days ago, but now they got to turn things around and play the Carolina Hurricanes right away. We're going to look at that, look at some Stanley Cup future odds, some Conn Smythe future odds, and much, much more here on PuckTime on May 20th. Carmine, good morning to you. How are you?
Glorious day, Andrew. It's just such a fantastic day here, weather-wise. I won't go any further than that. You guys all know. Listen, I got the Stanley Cup up there, and it's got like the Leaf emblem on it. That's how small the cup was the last time they won it. But dude, I'm excited. Game one, Eastern Conference Finals tonight. Game two goes tomorrow. I see the other way around. The Dallas series starting tonight and the Carolina one starting tomorrow. But we're going to talk series prices right off the top of the show. We are then going to dive into game one tonight of the Eastern Conference. We're going to talk some Conn Smythe and look to see if we can find a little bit of value now that we're down to the final four teams. And then we'll look at Cup futures and whether there's any need to bet them now or wait until the first games of the Eastern and Western Conference are played. Guys, if you have a question, drop it in the chat. We're going to try and answer if we can throughout the show as well too. Hit that like button, and if you're on any of the other social media platforms like Instagram or the X, do us a favor and hit that heart button and drop a comment in there as well too. It helps the algorithm, and it makes us feel good about doing this show each and every day. But with that said, Andrew, welcome back. You were in Montreal. You went to see you were there for a bachelor party, but you got to see Toronto FC and Montreal, a rare road victory for Toronto, the soccer club, winning 6-1. How ironic that soccer team wins on Saturday 6-1, and then the hockey
Yeah.
team proceeds to lose 6-1. But with that said, Andrew, let's look at these series prices. Florida and Carolina. So we'll talk about this one first because it goes tonight. Minus 125 on Florida, plus 105 on Carolina. And Carolina has the home ice advantage in this one. Um, are you of the mindset that you take this future now, or you wait until game one or game two is finished?
The series price? Well, I
Yeah.
think that honestly, Carm, when you look at this game, this has a very similar vibes to what we saw in the Toronto Maple Leafs series. I think that if you like Florida, you got to hope they lose this one in game one, and then just get a much better price after game one. That's the way I'd approach it. I mean, if you look at it, Carolina did not have home ice in the last series because the Washington Capitals were the best team in the East during the regular season. So with that, Carolina got the split into Washington, went back, took care of business in Carolina. But at the end of the day, I think that right now with the situation, with the traveling, with Carolina coming off the series, they're coming off of Florida coming off of game 7. Although they could be riding a high right now, and then they showed off how much of a deep team they are. I think Carolina could take game 1, and that means you're going to get a much better price on the series after Carolina wins game 1. That's just where I would look. Of course, you get too cute and fancy, it might get a lot worse if Florida wins game 1, Carm. But that's kind of the way I would look at it here in this one. Obviously, there's all these series where you can find the opportunities to get a better price after just one game. It happens all the time. And of course, we saw it with multiple different series where you can just jump on certain teams. Or again, after a certain team wins, you jump on that Conn Smythe Trophy winner.
Listen, I tend to agree. Just because it's there doesn't mean you have to bet it. I think everyone thinks, it's much like betting an NHL game, a live in game, to get a better price than the opening number. And if you don't get the better price in game, you just don't play it. So I think it's similar in this series that if you don't like the line right now, or if you like the Canes, I think if you like the Canes, you take it now if you think they're going to win game one tonight. Um, Florida, both these teams, Andrew, when it comes to home ice, both these teams can win in each other's buildings, and but it's the quick turnaround. you look at the fact that, Florida had to play one day off and then they're right back at it. And it's similar to last season. I think it was last season that the Bruins and Leafs went to 7 games, and then the Bruins had to start their season, or sorry, their next round with one day's rest. But they won game one of that series, if memory serves me correct. So can Florida win this one? Of course they can. You look at this game, and I think it's going to be a much more defensive game, and we're going to get that in a second. But I think as far as this future goes, if you like Florida, much like you said, and you're leaning Canes, which we'll talk about, you sit on Florida. They have to win one of 2 games here. But losing both, you're going to get an even better price. You look, they lost both games in Toronto, games 1 and games 2. That price was an inflated price on Florida. They had to win 4 of the next 5 games, and they did it. So they won 4 of the next 5. It's a very good team, made it to the Cup Finals 2 years in a row, winning it last season, and they know what they need to do. But with the Canes having a little bit of rest, I think as far as the series goes, I'm leaning Carolina to win this series. I know going against Florida and going against that team that can roll out 4 lines and has the experience and has been there a couple times. I think this series comes down to one thing and one thing only, Andrew, when you're looking at the series price and not game by game, is can Freddie Anderson continue to do what he has done thus far in the playoffs? He's been solid, has not made any mistakes. The defense has not made any mistakes, and it gets amped up one more time here because against the Florida Panthers, if you make a mistake, they're going to make you pay for it on the defensive end. So, with that said, I'm leaning Canes to win this series plus 105. Uh, I like the plus money. I don't want to lay minus money with a series price here, Andrew. Um, if Florida wins game 1, do I come back and take Carolina in with a better series price? Probably. Not for as big a play, but maybe I bring down my overall exposure and get some bigger plus money across both plays, plus 105, and you'll probably get plus 145, plus 150 if the Canes lose tonight. So with that said, I'd probably lean Canes in the series.
And Carm, how much does that come down to home ice advantage? Because when you look at this number, and you look at the fact that this Florida team, what was it, 3-6-1? That was the slide they had at the end of the regular season, right? The fact is they finished 3rd in the Atlantic Division. The fact that they're not winning that game 7 against the Maple Leafs and then taking a flight back home to Sunrise, getting to open things up with the last change, with the home ice, with the fans behind you, they get to go on a flight to Raleigh, North Carolina, and take on the Hurricanes, who play some of the best home ice hockey in the league. And I've been talking about it. It was one of the reasons why one of my favorite bets of round 1 was the minus 1.5. Why I liked Carolina in the last series. I thought they would do well. And when you look at this one right now, it's the same thing. How much did it matter, and how much did it impact Florida by pretty much, I don't want to say giving up, but as you and I were kind of saying, Carm, during the regular season, they were just preparing for the postseason. They didn't really win many games because they knew they were going to make the playoffs. They went from being in first place most of the season to not even finishing in second, finishing in 3rd behind Tampa. So they were the road team against Tampa. They were the road team against Toronto. And now they're the road team against Carolina. I think that can start to catch up on certain teams. But I'll tell you, the only thing that really scares me with this Florida team, Carm, is if you look at the goal scores for that series clincher. I mean, to me, when I look at those guys, like Lindell, what did he score? 2 goals in that game. Luster-Reinen scores a goal. Marchand scores a goal. Seth Jones scores a goal. And Gadjevich scores a goal. I mean, to me, when you look at those names, that's what makes Florida so special. They've got the Barkovs, they've got the Reinhardts, they've got the Verhaeghes. But at the end of the day, when you're leading the league in the number of players that have a goal, it's really spectacular. I think they have like 18 players that have a goal here. So we can talk about the Matthews and the Marner and those guys for not scoring a goal. But at the end of the day, in Game 7, Barkov didn't score. Verhaeghe didn't score. I actually think Reinhart got the last goal of the game. But regardless, this team has so much depth. But I still believe, Carm, the fact that they let Tampa and Toronto take over that division, I think it really impacts them right now. This is the series. I don't think Toronto, the home ice, mattered that much, I'll be honest. I don't think it mattered in Tampa. I think this is the series the most where the home ice really will matter.
I've tried to, Andrew, speaking of Florida, I've tried to have Paul Maurice fired about 18 times over the last 2 years. Man, I want to take a mulligan on that 18 times because I was like horribly wrong. He got them to play his style. And you look at Florida down the stretch, and you mentioned like the last 10 games or so, the last couple of weeks, and it almost seems like John Cooper's Tampa Bay Lightning in their cup winning seasons. The last month of the season, they had the playoffs sewn up. They knew they were going to make it. They knew they could win on the road. So there was, he started to manage minutes. Even if a player plays 2 or 3 minutes less a game, those are managed minutes. They're not taking the game off. This isn't the NBA with load management. He manages players for long series in the playoffs, and Paul Maurice is doing the same thing. But you talk about the game in general, and the Canes are a very good home team, and that's one of the reasons why I like them in the series is if they can get out of these first couple games at home and head to Florida, they are in the driver's seat. Florida is going to have to win for the next 5 games against the Canes, and that is a tough thing to do. The Canes don't lose a lot of games on home ice, but this is a different beast in this Florida Panthers team. Next one, minus 110 both ways. Edmonton and the Dallas Stars. Minus 110 is the series price on this one. And I will say this, I'm leaning Oilers. Let's see a Canadian team in the finals. It's going to be a little different I think, for this Dallas team in the sense of they're not playing the Winnipeg Jets, and no disrespect for the Winnipeg Jets, but Dallas was the better team in that series. It is different with the Edmonton Oilers. They are scoring goals. They can score goals. They are dangerous. They're a puck-moving team. And if nothing else, the one thing people were worried about, and we'll see if it continues into this series, Andrew, is Skinner in goal. We talked about it during that series against the Vegas Golden Knights. Everyone said Skinner isn't the goalie to lead you. Well, he had 2 very solid games to close out that series. He's kind of looking like Skinner of last year's playoffs that led the Oilers to the Stanley Cup and eventually Game 7. I'm leaning the Edmonton Oilers here. If you like Dallas, I say you skip Game 1, because if the Oilers win Game 1, you're going to get a much better price on the Dallas Stars. Andrew, what are your thoughts on this one?
Karma, I think that when you look at this one, Dallas, it feels like they've been on the brink of kind of making that push for years. Very similar to Carolina, actually. I describe them as very similar teams. Both those teams, well-rounded, have depth, play the right way, play defensive. They've both been kind of on that, just right there for the past several years. But one thing that just keeps coming back to me. And again, I've been wrong pretty much back-to-back series about the Oilers. I thought it would be a much tighter series against Vegas, and I did think that LA would take it. But how many times have we seen teams lose in the Stanley Cup Finals, then go back the next year, Carm? It just keeps happening. I mean, we saw it with Tampa. We saw it with Vegas. We saw it with Florida. These teams, even though they go through so many grueling injuries, they go through so much of just pain, and they have to battle through multiple series to get to the Stanley Cup Finals. You also learn what it takes. You also learn what it takes to get there. You learn the difference between regular season hockey and postseason hockey. So I think the Edmonton Oilers kind of have that going for them right now. The only issue is I think that we're not going to see a Stanley Cup rematch from last year. I think one of Dallas or Carolina will move on to the Stanley Cup Finals. We'll find out which one of those teams that it is. But Carm, when I look at this series overall, I think ultimately, when you look at it, you just have to be betting on the key players. You got to be betting on the top guys in this one. I think Mikko Rantanen right now, you can look at him for most points in the series. You can look at a player like Draisaitl. I think Connor McDavid. I think there's actually decent odds for him on most goals in the series. Obviously, he's a great goal scorer, but he does a lot of playmaking as well. This is the one that I'm going to take here, Carm, which I'm curious your thoughts. Dallas Stars and Pete DeBoer. I think his record now is 8-0 in game sevens. So I'm going to tell people, if you like the Edmonton Oilers, you better take them to win that series in 6, because any series that Pete DeBoer and the Dallas Stars go to in 7, we all know what happens. We saw the game 7 against Colorado. I know that was kind of the Mikko Rantanen miracle where he scored a bunch of goals and they were down 2-0 with 5 minutes to go. At the end of the day, it's Oilers in 6 or it's Stars in 7 from where I'm sitting here.
Andrew, I was just looking it up. So, we talk about, some of the weird things that they have. If you like the Edmonton Oilers in game 1, the series price on them is -110. Would you take the Edmonton Oilers to win game 1 and win the series at +200?
Interesting. Win game 1 and win the series. Well, I don't know, because I'm
throwing you a curveball there.
Yeah,
that's what I got to do.
You did. Well, I think the fact is, though, is that Dallas could win the first game, and I think that Edmonton. This is what I think could possibly happen. We could see a split take place in the first 2 games, and then Edmonton could go and protect home ice. So that's why I'm a little bit I'm a little bit worried. Dallas coming out, they could be, they're the home favorite here. They could win the first game, and we'll talk about that one. But from the where I'm sitting, I think it's almost best. Almost, Carmen, you can get odds. What if you got it in front of you right now? What are the odds Edmonton to lose game 1 and win the series?
Dallas to win game 1 and Edmonton to win the series is +400.
Oh, there we go. So you cheer against them game 1. You cheer on them the rest of the series. I don't mind that.
It's an interesting proposition, because it's one of those bets. If you like the Oilers and you took them to win game 1, but win the series in a game 7 on home ice, the Oilers are going to be favored over the Dallas Stars. If you don't feel good about that bet, you can get out of it by betting the Dallas Stars at plus money, and you get out of your bet. But that's kind of like cashing out a bet. Kelly and I have this discussion all the time. Don't cash out on bets. The books offer you the cash out for a reason, because percentage wise, it favors the book. It never favors, they're not doing you a favor. They're not giving you a free gift by allowing you to cash out a bet. What they are looking at, and I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here, Andrew, is that most people don't do proper bankroll management, so they can't make a bet that they're worried about losing. So they don't want to lose that bet, so they take the cash out. So they are always in the book's favor when you're cashing out a bet. If you're betting properly, flat betting, betting by percentages, whether it's 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%, and you're not always all in, reload, all in, then that's the way is you just don't cash out a bet. But you can hedge one if you want to, if it is a big price and it makes a difference to you. With that said, Andrew, let's get into game 1. We've discussed it along the way, but Carolina -125 tonight, Florida +105. Total sits here at 5.5. Some action coming in on the on the under, and a little bit of action on the Canes. I'm going to make my thoughts here known quickly, and then I'm going to go to you on this one. I like the Canes. I just think that in a game like this, you have Florida off of a Game 7 win in Toronto, and they have to make the quick adjustment to playing the Canes. Canes have 4 lines. The Leafs did not have 4 lines, and maybe we'll discuss that a little later on. It is a little different with this Canes. You're not just trying to stop one line, you're trying to stop 2 or 3 lines, and it makes it that much tougher. Line matching is important. Canes at home can match the lines, and it comes down to, does Freddie Anderson continue to play like he's played in the playoffs? If the answer is yes, then the Canes should take game 1.
I agree, and I'm with you, Carm, on it. I'm with there. And you know what? I like a lot of props here in this one, but they're all juiced. It's hard to get props down right now in the NHL playoffs. Taylor Hall, 6 straight home games. He has gone over 1.5 shots on goal, but the number at my book is minus 165. Is that worth betting? Well, hey, look, 6 straight home games might be still worth taking here for Carolina, for him and a player like that. They tried to get Ranson in, didn't work. But hey, they ended up getting Taylor Hall. They ended up getting a guy like Logan Stankoven, and both those two players have been fantastic for them in round 1. One more that I like here, Carm, and this is another 1.5 shots on goal prop. This is for Aaron Ekblad. The guy was suspended for a while. The guy came back, got suspended again. 7 straight away games over 1.5 shots on goal for him. He's been fantastic. He's helped out in the offense. He's been a guy that's gotten points for the Florida Panthers, and really, the Blue Liners have really contributed a lot for the Florida Panthers, especially a guy like Seth Jones, who had that great shot, that great goal in Game 7 against the Toronto Maple Leafs. So I like the defenseman here, and I like Taylor Hall. We're looking towards Aaron Ekblad, and if you want to sprinkle an anytime goal scorer, I think you got to just keep riding with Seth Jarvis, a guy that's playing so well right now. One thing that does concern me, though, again, is that those guys were so quiet, the top players for the Florida Panthers in Game 7. Taking a look at some of the shots on goal numbers here right now, wouldn't shock me to see a guy like Sam Reinhart go over 2.5 shots on goal, minus 130 in that one. Carter Verhaeghe over 2.5 shots on goal. He's minus 125. Those guys were quiet in Game 7. Wouldn't be shocked to see them really pick up and find their offense. But at the end of the day, Carm, when it comes down to it, I like Carolina in Game 1. I like some of these props. And I'll tell you what, last week I said it on the show. I said I like some of these Conn Smythe trophy winners. I think it's time to get into it, Carm, because when you look at it, Freddie Anderson is so juiced up, and you talked about how well he's been playing, but I'm going to die on the hill, and we'll get Dan to make a funny video of me saying this if I end up being wrong, because we got a lot of goalies playing well. I don't think a goalie is going to win the Conn Smythe trophy this year. You've got Ottinger, right? You've got a guy like Bobrovsky. You've got Freddie Anderson. We know Skinner's not winning it. They're all up there favorited. Right now, 28-1 for Sebastian Aho. I got to get behind that, because I just think that in order for Carolina to win the next 2 rounds, they can't win all 2-1 games. They're going to have to score, Carm. So 28-1, Sebastian Aho, not too bad.
We're going to get into some of these Conn Smythe ones in a second, Andrew. To see if there's value or not. You might have to die on that hill, because I have a different thoughts as far as whether goalies can win or not. But if you're looking for a series prop in this Carolina one, you mentioned Seth Jones. Seth Jones to have the most goals in this series. I think that sort of correlates with me liking Carolina to win the series. I would probably take that. It's plus 600 on it. The favorite right now is Sam Reinhart at plus 475, and then Seth Jarvis. And then Sebastian Aho comes in at plus 700 after that. But plus 600 on Seth Jarvis, I would take that. A couple of slices of pizza, you know me, no pineapple on that pizza. Seth Jarvis, plus 600 to have the most goals in the series. So that's one prop I'll probably take. Andrew, before we get to some Conn Smythe ideas here, and then maybe some Cup future discussion, it's $5 Tuesdays at WagerTalk, guys. So a bunch of cappers have plays up for $5. You can get as many cappers as you want. I've got one up for tonight in the NHL as well, too. That's only $5. And in there is a promo, but I'm going to give you that promo code right now, because I have an afternoon 5% soccer play, fresh off a 5%er last week and a very good run. 2-0 yesterday, including a nice plus money winner on Brighton over Liverpool. We're going to keep that run going. EPL 10. EPL 10 will get you $10 off today's 5% soccer play, or you can use that on a one-day all access package, which is $39, and drop it down to $29. So EPL 10. But some great promos over at WagerTalk on $5 Tuesdays. Guys, please hit that like button across any of the platforms that you're on right now watching this show. Okay, Conn Smythe, Andrew, you're dying on the hill. I might die at the bottom of it. Let's look at the top 5 right now. Connor McDavid plus 350. I get it, but I'm not betting it. It's just no value right now for a player that is won it last year, but you have no idea if the Oilers are going to make it to the Cup Finals or not. Mikko Rantanen, I get it as well too, but I am not laying plus 400 on there because I think if Dallas makes it to the Cup and wins the Cup, it should go to Jake Ottinger, and that is where you and I differ in that opinion. I think the Dallas goalie, he played extremely well in that last series. He's the one for me, as far as I'm concerned, that can win a series. And if you shut down the Edmonton Oilers to make it to a cup, that's on the goalie. So that's what I'm looking at there. I wouldn't take Mikko Rantanen. Freddie Anderson, if they make it to a cup final, you start looking at on the Canes, who stands out? They play as a team. They win as a team. There's not one specific player that stands out on that team. So if they win it, that's going to go to a goalie. So plus 450, I still think it's not priced high enough for me. Plus 600, I probably jump on it. Sergei Bobrovsky, couple shaky starts, obviously against the Leafs in games 1 and 2, but he was the man in games 5, 6, and 7, allowing only 4 goals across those 3 games. Leon Draisaitl, plus 1100. Andrew, that one looks good. I would rather take him than Connor McDavid because I think that Draisaitl is the I want to use the word bogey in this one, but he's the one that if he has a very good series against Dallas, he puts himself in a position to win that Conn Smythe at much, much lower odds. Thoughts?
I that's one thing you and I can agree on today, Carm. So that's good to see. Leon, I mean, there's value there. Again, Connor won it last year, though, in losing fashion with his team. That's impressive. The fact that a player won the Conn Smythe Trophy, and some people were complaining that he didn't go out to accept the award. Look, I think he has class. I think that, he's a respectable guy. But when you're devastated for losing in the Stanley Cup Finals, Game 7, hard to want to go out there and accept an award. But I think at 11-1, it's worthy of looking at for a guy like Leon. And at the end of the day, you're pretty much just betting on him, carrying the play and scoring a couple more goals than Connor McDavid is. And he's certainly capable of doing that. I don't think. The thing is, Carm, is that I'm a big believer that there's a lot of bias involved with the Conn Smythe Trophy over the next 2 series, the Conference Finals and the Stanley Cup Finals. Like if you're a team that loses in the first round or second round and your players in the post, the locker room clean out, they always say, we're just right there. We feel like we're almost there. They're not. There's still 2 more rounds to go. So if Leon goes out and has a really good series against Dallas, all of a sudden you and I are talking in a week and a half here, and his odds could be plus 550, plus 400, and then goes in the Stanley Cup Finals and he gets a few goals there. So, guys, comment below, whether on the live chat or afterwards. Let us know. Let us know what you think. Any long shots, any of these top 3 or 4 or 5 favorites here. Let us know who your Conn Smythe winner would be. If you had to bet one right now, who would you guys take? But Carm, since 2014, just one goaltender has won the Conn Smythe Trophy, and that is Andrei Vasilevskiy. So when I look at this right now, I'm looking down the list. It's been a long time. I was quite a bit younger, Carm. I mean, I guess we all were quite a bit younger. But when I think back to the days of Tim Thomas with the Boston Bruins, when I look back at some of these other goaltenders, Jonathan Quick, even when he won it in 2012, that feels like a long time ago for goaltenders. McDavid, Marchessault, Cale Makar, Vasilevskiy, Hedman, Ryan O'Reilly, Ovechkin, Crosby, Duncan Keith, Justin Williams, Patrick Kane, and then in 2012, Jonathan Quick won it. So looking at it, since 2012, there have only been 2 goaltenders that have won the Conn Smythe Trophy. I rest my case.
I know. I think we're in a different zone now, other than the Edmonton Oilers. Edmonton Oilers winning the cup. But this year, it would have to be an offensive player and not a goalie. Stuart Skinner's had too many bad games to win it. So I think if it's the Canes or Florida or Dallas, it could vary. It could be a goalie in that one. I think it would be slanted towards the goalies, but we'll see if that happens. It's got to happen at some point, Andrew. But you mentioned class. I want to. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this. The class of the Dallas Stars. At the end of that game, they win it in overtime. A few of their players, including Sagan, go over to Mark Scheifele, who lost his dad the night before, and played that game, scores a goal, unfortunately takes the penalty that leads to the overtime goal. But, going over to him, instead of like this huge celebration, they go over to him, they're hugging the guy because they know, guys, you lose a parent. I lost my dad in 2006, shortly after the World Cup of Soccer. I made sure he got to see every single game while he was ill, but passed away a couple of months later. You lose a parent is one of the most heartbreaking things, and for this guy to have to go on the ice and compete, and he said his dad would have wanted him to play, and I completely understand that what he's saying, but total class, Dallas Stars, and their players for doing that. Andrew, anything to add, or shall we jump right into the Cup Futures?
I share your thoughts. It was really
All right.
nice, and it was sad to see. I'll tell you what, though, it was heartbreaking to see Scheifele in the penalty box, man. That was heartbreaking to watch.
Yeah. Yep. The world sometimes, life deals us um, lemons. You know what I mean? So that's what we do with it. But Andrew, you look at the top four favorites here, from top to bottom: Florida plus 230, Edmonton Oilers plus 265, Dallas plus 290, and the Hurricanes plus 320. In a Final Four scenario where any one of these four teams, you can make a case for betting, why would anybody take plus 230 or as high as plus 320? I think only if you like Edmonton or Carolina do you, to win their series, do you take Edmonton or Carolina to win this one? If you don't like Edmonton or Carolina, uh, or at least if you don't like them to win game one at home, you're going to get a much better price on the Oilers. The Oilers and Carolina, if they both lose game one, those prices are going to float up maybe a little bit, but possibly see some 350s and plus and some 400s for the Canes. Thoughts?
Yeah, I can't look at that number for the Florida Panthers. And I'll tell you what, Carm, I did say that I think that there's a possibility, and I guess you like it as well. Like you were saying there, you get a better number on Florida, not just to win their series, but to win the Stanley Cup. So the funny thing is, look at that price differential from the Oilers and the Stars, but yet the Dallas Stars are the home team here to start that series off. So that one's kind of interesting to me. But overall, I just think there has to be a little bit more respect given to the Carolina Hurricanes. I know the Panthers are the defending Cup champions. I know the Panthers are so capable of playing the perfect playoff style game, but I feel like right now Carolina is a team that I would sprinkle on. If you're not interested in betting Conn Smythe futures, I think right now the odds I like on Carolina. All season long, they were a team that just had those steady odds for the Stanley Cup. They were in the top 5 mix all year long. They got that home ice against Florida, as I mentioned, because of Florida had that slide at the end of the regular season. I feel like that will be huge and an impact in this series. If Carolina protects home ice, they win this series. So plus 320, not too bad for the Cup future.
All right. Um, we see a comment there. Take Carolina in the over 5.5. Take Edmonton and over 5.5. Combo bet 100 to win 1722. Andrew,
Whoa.
that's going to buy quite a few rounds of beers. If that if that one comes in, thank you for that comment. We love those. We love those ones. Well, guys, I know this got asked in the live chat. We will have shows all week because the games will alternate Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. What we'll do is we'll mix it up because we'll only be discussing the game. But I am going to put Andrew on the spot each and every day with an Andrew McInnis same game parlay, and I'll throw out a pizza parlay as well too, just to add a little spice to the shows for the rest of the week as well too. Guys, do us a favor again, but just before closing, hit that like button here on if you're watching on YouTube, and if you're on one of the social medias, Instagram or the X, hit that heart button. Drop a comment in the comment section. To any of the guys who won shirts in the previous contest, I'm picking them up this week, so they will go out Thursday or Friday. So fret not, I have not forgotten. And BB Bruins, I think, or B Bruins, I got your info. Titans, I got your info as well too. You guys will get them, and I'll throw out a contest on tomorrow's show for one more. Andrew, what do you think?
I like it. You know what? It's been an absolute capacity crowd right now. We got a live chat bumping. They deserve it. We have a viewer watching from Venezuela right now. I think right now PuckTime is global, so we gotta love that, Carm. Watch those shipping fees, but you're giving out some T-shirts. I don't mind it.
My wife is 1/4 Venezuelan, so there you go. I bet you did not know that. Stacy has 1/4 Venezuelan, so there you go. But I digress. Andrew, what do you have up at WagerTalk? I'll go first, actually, and then you can let us know what you have up. Hopefully, it's a tremendous run continuing for you on the baseball field as well, too. One play up in NHL tonight. It's a 5%. It is a $5 play, not a 5% play. It's a best bet, 4% for only $5. 5% play this afternoon in soccer. You can use EPL 10 to get $10 off of that price, or get the 1 day all access and get $10 off of that. EPL 10 is that code. Tomorrow is the Europa League finals, Tottenham and Manchester United. I have a package up for that for tomorrow. It is a play plus 3 props. And then I also preloaded the Champions League final. And every year I do it for $1, Andrew, as a customer appreciation to everyone who bought plays throughout the year. You get a play on the game and then a whole bunch of different prop bets, which will be loaded the week of the game. That game goes on the 31st of May. So with that said, I'll send it to you for what you have and close the show out.
Carm, 71% run on the bases there, MLB action. So doing well. Small skid for me in the NHL, though. Honestly, a handful of losses. Got to get back on track with the NHL. We're going to try and give out some props as well throughout the week on the show, but get back on track starting tonight with NHL plays. But right now, great deal going on right now for anybody who wants to get on board for 365 days. That price is currently listed at $99 per month. Regular price is close to $2,000 for that. Right now, you can get that again. $99 per month is an excellent deal for long term for myself, NHL, MLB, full CFL season. Take you all the way into the NFL and NHL of next season. Great deal there. But $5 Tuesday, $5 baseball play for me. Yesterday, we had a team total play over 5.5. We cashed that one in just 6 innings. Doing very well on the diamond. Let's try and do it again today. All right, guys, let's get your comments there. Let us know your Stanley Cup futures. Let us know what your bet is tonight, Hurricanes and Panthers. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Same time, same place, right here on Puck Time.